You're listening to This Week in Real Estate with your host, Rob Golfi. Brought to you by the Golfi Team at RE/MAX Escarpment, featuring Conrad Zarini, broker-owner of RE/MAX Escarpment Realty Inc., and Brian Hogben, owner of Mission 35 Mortgages. Let's hear what's going on in real estate this week.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hi.
Hey.
Battle the snowstorm. See,
Oh yeah, I was on the highway today. It's terrible. It's terrible out there.
So I've been hearing on the radio, right? Now, I grew up, and Conrad, you grew up probably the same generation as I did. This snow was no snow day. Hey? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Like, guys, I mean, I wake up in the morning, everybody's calling, it's a snow day with the kids, this and that. Now, are we making our kids wimpy? Or is it just me being a little bit too critical, old school?
I think because they get bussed.
Yeah.
I think there was an accident way back when, and they're super, like, if your school is mostly bussed. Yeah. But you know what? They gave my daughter had the online, like they had online today. So, yeah.
So your daughter takes the bus, right?
Yeah.
And so is school closed today for her?
It's closed, but they have all their classes are online.
Oh, they're open for online. Okay.
Yeah, Zoom.
So
Yep.
I get you. The school buses, they get an accident and they have to deal with the lawsuits and all that kind of crap.
Yeah,
Why
their
did you
insurance is.
open that thing?
You just have the opportunity. If you can get there, then the school could be open. If you can get there, maybe a quasi one.
Yeah, let the parents be at fault. Yeah. That's it. The kid can't see the parents or anything like that.
Wow.
So, did you guys read the headline of what do you call it? Toronto couple shocked when rent increased 25%. Now, Conrad, this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
So, no, but did you know this, that they can do that?
Yeah.
After now?
Well,
is that
actually,
why there's a lot of apartment buildings going up now instead of condos?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, I can't remember what year before this happened. Like before the pandemic, things were starting to increase, and they moved it up. I think it was probably around 2010. They moved it up by about, or 2008. They moved it up by about 10 years to 2018 in November. So yeah, it's well, look, I'm part of the problem, so to speak. We've been lobbying for this for a long time because, you look at the rental stock, apartment stock, 1970, when they brought in rent controls, that's the last time apartment building was built. So there's a lot of, we're talking there's 50-year-old stock out there and plus, right? Things that were built in early 60s and things like that. So no one built anything till after the 70s at all. And, that's part of the housing crisis we're in today because of these rent controls. But it was back further. Like I'm pretty sure it was 08 or even early 2000s before. And then it got out of hand, and under the Liberal government, she kiboshed that whole thing. And then the Conservatives brought it back to 2018.
See that? Like, now, like,
and things are getting built. You're right, Rob. It works.
It's a good thing for landlords. Now they can keep the value of the buildings worth what they are. Because some people have to sell their buildings because they were very nice to the tenants. They weren't increasing their rent over the years. Sometimes there's people out there, they've been tenants for 10, 15 years. The landlord's nice guy. He says, these guys have been paying rent and he hasn't increased it. But now he's paying the price trying to sell whatever building he owns because he's kept the rents the same. And now he's stuck. And it could cost them, hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially now. But now with this thing, are they going to be able to keep this? Like saying, hey, listen, anything that's been built after November of 2018, you can raise the rent whatever you want.
Well, I think it has
whatever the market's willing to pay, basically.
It's got a big benefit too, right? Because I've got a friend whose mother lives in a rent controlled building, and she's been there for 15 years. Her rent is like, oh my God, I think it's like $800 a month for a 2-bedroom. But she can't get anything done. What do you think the property management does in that company, right? If there's mold, they're going to be like, I'm not doing nothing. They say, you want new floors? They're fine. They could be plywood and rotting, right? So I think, with the new construction, it gives an opportunity for people to get a good quality product too, because that's the flip side. People aren't taking care of those things anymore either.
No.
So, yeah. So like downtown on James Street, Leona built a what do you call it? They built a
student rental,
there, a rental building there. Now how many rental buildings just are going up right now downtown Hamilton? There's
probably about 6 or 7 for sure. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? See that there was a shortage of them. Now everybody's coming back and building them, and it's finally the government is doing stuff to help with this crisis. The other thing is now, you know how condo buildings, they don't finance the developer until he's got 50% sold, or he can't start digging and they won't give him the money.
Or higher.
How is it on these apartment buildings they're building? Is it tougher to get financing? There's
actually some good programs right now with CMHC. They're really bullish on apartment building finance right now. They actually launched, Conrad probably knows about this too. They have 50-year mortgages for new construction apartment buildings now through CMHC. Yeah. You get great rates as well too.
And great rates. And you're probably talking as high as 95% loan to value. So they were just, the old Flex program, they had Flex 1, Flex 2. It was 85% loan to value and 40-year AM, and the new one is 50-year AM and 95. Yeah, no, there's a whole checklist of things. Like, don't get me wrong, it's
not for everybody. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
But they give you marks. Like CMHC gives you marks for being ecologically friendly, and you got a good walk score. And some affordable, like a percentage affordable. So there's a lot of good happening with it as well. So and it's finally putting money and having this in the right hands and getting this product developed. Absolutely.
Well, it's gonna solve the rental crisis anyway within the next 5 years or so. Because now I know Leona is building another one on the corner of Jackson and James Street,
where their headquarters was. Yeah.
Is that where their headquarters is going to go?
No, that's where their headquarters were. Their Hamilton headquarters were there. Right.
Okay. Yeah. So what are they building there now? Are they building another apartment building there, or
rental? Yeah, they've been in the rental space for a long time, and I had a chance to chat with some of their people. They've really gone into that suburban, like they've not gone into the urban centers like Toronto's and things like that. They've gone to secondary markets. Even in the US, they've done really, really well with the secondary markets. Not your like Manhattan, but outside and things like that. Right. Outside Philadelphia, things like that. So they've done that well. And you got to remember too, Rob, these things cash flow. So once your amenities are built, once your underground parking and your amenities are built, you can start renting each floor. You just close up, so you rent the first floor, you rent the second floor, and it's different than with a condo because you can't. The whole building has to be completed. There's registration.
Before you can get people in there.
All that kind of stuff. So these things are cash flowing way earlier than if you were building, right? So there's probably they're cash flowing, I would say maybe 8-9 months, even maybe a year. Before like a condo would start cash flowing.
Wow. No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
That you know what? It's now now does this include homes too? Anything built after November 2018? That's
absolutely. Yep.
And it even includes
rent whatever you want, 10, 20, 30%, whatever the market's willing to pay. And if the tenant says no, I can't pay that, they just have to give their 60 days notice and find someplace else.
And it is a new legal unit as well, too, my understanding. Is that right, Conrad? If you put in a new legal basement unit,
yes, that's the other thing.
Single family home after 2018, not just.
It's also a new legal unit?
So legal, yeah.
So what's happening is all these REITs and large apartment owners are relooking at all the space and rejigging laundry and common spaces and all that kind of stuff, and squeezing out 2, 3, 4 units. That's Brian is 100% right. That's fostered a whole new industry, from architects to building trades. It's you'd be surprised how many of these you can carve out, maybe 3 to 5 more units in a 200 unit building. Absolutely.
No kidding. I just found that unbelievable. Like this couple here, they couldn't believe they had a 25% increase, and they were shocked. And they were saying that now if you are a renter that's going to rent something that has been built after November 2018, it's best to get a clause put in there so that your rent doesn't increase, because most tenants think that they can't increase it any more than 2.1 or 1.2% or whatever the 1.2% legal rate. But this is an eye opener for a lot of people. I mean, you almost have to bring it to the forefront. But I didn't know it that well in depth, because my rentals are a lot older than 2018, so it wasn't a factor. But I'm kind of looking at some new. I'll look at some new stuff and I'll be able to keep the rents up on those things. But this is an opportunity to build 4plexes and 6plexes on properties that, there's no rent control, and that makes it a lot easier. You can actually build them, get them rented at a good price, and you either keep them or you sell them. Now, when you say these 50-year amortizations, would that count as small 4plexes too?
CMHD. I don't know what the threshold is, but they'll do. They've done small. I know they've done some small ones in Niagara, probably 15 to 20s. Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's a process.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do 4plexes though, Rob. Like when it gets down that small, they're really looking. I think the minimum threshold is like 1.5 million, something around there. Like they want to see a certain dollar volume, and they want to see. I think the smallest is a 6 unit or an 8, around that.
That's not bad. That is not bad. I kind of like that. That's actually a great opportunity for a lot of people, because there's a lot of small little pockets in and around in all different cities and towns that you can do this if you can get the zoning changed on these to a 6plex or an 8plex, and they're nice little buildings to manage too. Like they're easier, like, you know what I mean, like but
it's funny. Nobody noticed this for years. It's been around like for a long time. The only reason it's really noticeable now and it's shocking is that because rents have increased like year over year, like that's the only reason. Other than that, this is a solid program. Like, so you start at market rent. We don't see those kind of, it, Rob, better than I do, because you've done residential rental for a long time. Well, you don't see those kind of swings and fluctuations. It's only during a period of time like this. But once there's more units built, and it's going to work, the more units built, the more competition. As a matter of fact, in Calgary now, there was tons being built. The actual rental market has softened, especially for condos, like people renting a condo, a one-off, because there's apartment buildings that have been built, and the apartment building amenities are better than some of the condo amenities. And people like tenure. They don't want to think that a landlord's going to sell and decide to kick you out, right? So Calgary, great story in the Globe and Mail today about Calgary and how there's a lot more competition for rental, and it's getting way more affordable.
So the one thing was, there was a developer in town that owned a lot of these apartment buildings, and he was converting them into condos about 10, 20 years ago. Remember a lot of these apartment buildings were being converted into condos.
Now, because the tax rate, the mill rate, is better for condo, was anyway, than it was for apartment.
Yeah. So now I bet you that developers now are making these apartment buildings that it's easy to convert to condos, because they all have laundry in suites now, and they're all going to have separate meters, right? They're all going to have separate meters. So if somebody wanted to convert that building into a condo building, they could easily do it anytime. Basically, it's already retrofitted for that if they wanted to. Am I right about that?
You're right. I think if they adjusted, well, that mill rate now, it's kind of even now. There was a time people were thinking, let's just go all apartment and forget about it because they were worried about the condo mill rate and stuff like that. But it's pretty leveled off. Most people condoize, like they're condoized prior to becoming a purpose-built rental. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Anything else going on in the mortgage industry there, Brian, or what's happening?
We got big rate announcement next week, so we'll see about that. So the Bank of Canada is coming out again next week, so maybe we'll see that quarter point rise next week.
Half point? You think a half point?
Half? Me? I don't know. I thought they were going to do it in January, right? So for them to go from nothing to a half, I think you'll see a quarter.
A quarter point. So
I'm predicting they go steep. They go steep. Yeah? I tell you, I think they're gonna go. It was funny because half. Yeah, well, everybody's all jittery about what's happening in Russia and all that kind of stuff, and actually in the Ukraine. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I predict half point.
What are you going to go, Rob? Let's see. We'll see deal or no deal here for next week. What are you going to
do? Be right. I think they really want to shock the market. They want to slow it down and stop it. And I you know what? I think I'm with Conrad on that one. I could see a half point.
I'm sticking with $1, not going over. Okay, a quarter point for me. Quarter point. Okay. So
awesome.
We'll see.
Hey guys, thanks a lot. Brian Hogben with Mission 35, Conrad Zerini, RE/MAX Escarpment, RE/MAX Niagara, and myself, Rob Golfi here. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.